Bienvenidos a Oye Cinema Club, Club, Club. Hello, everyone. My name is Don Dino. I'll be your host for this evening, morning, whenever you watch this. And that's because I picked the movie for today, which is Akira Kurosawa's Dreams. It's from 1990. It's in color. It's also produced by Spielberg and Martin Scorsese accent it. So it's got a little bit of everything. But I won't be talking about this movie by myself because I have friends that gonna join me. I got a lot of friends. I guess just three, but that's enough. I have Marina, Steve Does TV, and Jason Eccles. All right, let's get started. So much to talk about. For first impressions, how about we start with Steve?
Well, I was not expecting to be first, but I also was not expecting this movie. Let me just go ahead and say this for anybody that is expecting to watch this film. Spoiler alert: don't watch this film when you're tired. Don't watch this film thinking is a lengthy film that's connected together. This felt to me more like a bunch of short films because by the second I and then I had this other dream, I was like, wait, what the heck is happening and is going on? And I was getting a little tired and a little sleepy. uh because I was just like, wait, what? Like in the beginning it caught me because it's the mom is throwing so much information at the kid, and the kid is literally behaving like a man, that I'm like, man, like I'm intrigued about this journey right now. But then later it got like so confusing, and then music, and then this and makeup and the peaches trees and all this stuff, that I was just like, maybe this was the wrong time for me to watch this film, because it was just like so much at the same time. Plus, I think honestly, it's more of the combination of the colors, the aesthetic, and the way the cameras, like the cinematography of it was shot. Like it reminded me of like when I used to love like the Power Rangers, like the original ones. And like I don't know about that aesthetic, maybe soothing to me because it was like soothing to me as a child, that it was making me sleepy. And I was like, I want to stay up and watch the whole thing and read the subtitles and whatever. But I was in many parts fighting for my life with sleep. I'm not going to lie. So, anyway, those are my first impressions.
Nice. I watched it after my nap, so take a nap, guys, then watch it. All right. Marina, what are your first impressions?
Another thing to add to the don't do list is don't watch this movie hungover, because you also will want to go to bed and your head will hurt trying to keep up with everything. But it's my first time hearing about this movie. I didn't know it existed. So also my first time watching, despite against all odds, because I was fighting for my life this morning. I did have some aspects of it that I enjoyed. I think as Steve says, it starts off with the pop and don't blink. Because if you don't know, I didn't know it was like a bunch of short stories in one. So I was really confused. Like I feel like I watched 45 minutes of that movie and I had to start it over because I was trying to connect things. My head hurt. I'm like, wait. And then some of the actors look the same. I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody. I was like, is that the same guy from the last one or no? Is it? What's happening? So I started it over, and I think that was the best choice I could have made. And I was able to like take each story in for what it was, and stop that element of like trying to connect it, because it wasn't connected. It was, I feel like that's a discussion, but yeah, very dreamy. Like I am curious if it was like intentionally has that like that mysticalness to like kind of make you tired. So maybe you fall asleep and have a weird dream of your own. Like I don't know. I felt like I got I feel like I was like the stories needed to be told, and I feel like I was like immersed in that culture and like being told like tales that people in that culture tell their kids. Like I just felt like it was opening up a new book. Like we have like our Americanized stories, Hansel and Gretel. We have our like their three Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I feel like I was like seeing stories like that maybe children in another country are told at a certain time about like foxes and just like I feel like these like yeah I was getting new culture from watching this. So it was a lot to take in for a foreign film, but I still think as a first impression it still was enjoyable.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Jason, how about yourself?
Thanks, Dino. This is my first time seeing this movie. I have heard of it before. I remember seeing it like in the video store, like the video box, when those things still existed. Uh, I, uh, I know it was Kurosawa. Like, yeah, I'm familiar that this movie existed before I went into it. I kind of knew what it was about. I knew it was about dreams or a series of dreams. Maybe we might even covered this like in like a film class that I had or something like that back in college. But I had never seen it. This is my first time seeing it. This was kind of a tough one for me because it is paced. It is slow. I'm gonna just call it what it is. It's a slow movie, man, and it does feel like the kind of movie that a great filmmaker would make at the end of their life. It seems ambitious, like in nature, because it's like, well, how do you get a movie like this made? Who's going to pay for it? It seems very like, for lack of a better word, a lot of it seems very like masturbatory. Some of the shots hold for a really long time. And I guess like he's trying to give the feeling of like how dreams feel. Sometimes like, you're trying to run in your dream or you're trying to fight in your dream and it's like slow motion or it's like you're so weak or whatever. So I get a lot of those vibes in it. Some of it was like, I feel like I don't know if these are his dreams. I don't know anything about this movie. Also, let me preface that. So I don't know why he made this. Like, as far as like, are these his dreams? Are these other people's dreams? Is it just him writing about what he feels dreams are? I really don't know who wrote it. I don't know anything. But it feels like, especially the dream about like the nuclear stuff. I thought that was kind of interesting because it feels like that's the kind of post traumatic dream that someone who lived through a nuclear bomb would have. You know what I mean? Like, so like to have like that being like a reoccurring dream or nightmare seems pretty intense. And also like, for them to even want nuclear in Japan, you know what I mean? Like for just the sake of the people and their understanding, it probably seemed like a really bad idea considering what they had experienced. All in all, like I can't say that love this movie outright, but I do love like I do love it in principle. I feel like if this movie were made today, it might be a little bit better because of like, technology or whatever, or like maybe the ideas you can play with and kind of like pulling it apart. Um, Not like a movie like what was it? Inception. I guess it's kind of like a movie about dreams as well. It's a cool action movie, but I did really like the one that I guess we'll probably talk about what dream we like the best. So maybe I shouldn't say it yet, but there was one of the dreams that I really did like, and I was like, I would have loved. I mean, you guys can probably already know what it is
Yeah.
by what I'm about to say, but I would have loved to have seen that in cinema. That one specific dream in particular, but all in all, like I said, I don't love this movie, but it is one of the ones that I'm kind of like happy to watch just for film knowledge and also like in reverence of the director because he is one of the best that's ever done it. But those are my first impressions.
Nice. Yep. I'll go into mine. Also first time watching it. I've watched a lot of his movies. A handful, I don't know, seven of his movies now, give
That's
or
a lot.
take. Yeah, maybe more. Anyway, I'll think about it as we go on. But yeah, so he did around 70 films and only seven of them in color. So to me, I think this movie really falls on people that have seen a lot of his films or just the idea, kind of you said, it's a movie that maybe a filmmaker does towards the end of their lives, which came out in 1990 and then he passed away in 98. So it was one of his final films. And yeah, again, I guess he had issues trying to get funding for this movie in Japan because of his stance against nuclear power and the war, nuclear war, and stuff like that. And then at that point, he had already met Spielberg and Scorsese and like Coppola, and so he sent the script to Spielberg, who ended up help getting funding for him from Warner Brothers. So this clearly is one of those films like that only really gets done because a bunch of Hollywood, like just a creme de la creme, were huge fan of his films kind of coming up, that they're like, here you go, here's 12 million, do what you like because I want to watch it, right? And so it's more of an experience, I guess, than a film. And it is, all I knew was it was dreams. It was, and the majority are his dreams, is what I understand that he actually had. And so he's basically the main character. The little kid at the beginning, the house is was built after his childhood home, and later on, the main character that you kind of can tell, but it's a guy with a bucket hat. That was basically Kurosawa's outfit when filming and stuff like that. He had kind of a bucket hat. So kind of like you guys, it did get a lull for me. Then like I was like, oh, this really picked up, and maybe because some of the dreams were shorter than the other ones, so I was just like, yeah. And then it kind of slowed down again, and then so it's a very tough film. It's one that I think would have, yeah, unless you have experienced his other films and stuff like that, it's a really tough sell. Talk about a movie that you couldn't do today, even though Jason is saying that you would be able to, not in this type of vignettes of dreams that are just lightly connected because it's his dreams. So I enjoyed it, I guess, for what it is, right? But his eyesight was also going is another thing. So the way he did colors and stuff as he was older is also pretty wild. He also was a painter, and he would do watercolors, and his storyboards like were watercolors at times or little paintings of what the. So really interesting. So this is really an insight of like his, I don't know if you want to say psychosis, there's some PTSD, you know. He didn't go off to fight in the war, so he was still in Tokyo making films. So he was there during the different bombing raids, the fire bombs, and stuff like that. So there's a lot encapsulated in this. On that note, let's move on. Let's get right into it. Do you guys have a favorite dream or sequence? Let's start with Jason since you had one already lock and loaded, it seems like.
Yeah, I'm itching to tell you about it. It's the Van Gogh one. I mean, it's kind of like the one I feel like is sort of advertised with this movie. I think that might even be the box cover, if I'm not mistaken. It's just really interesting because I've had a Van Gogh period too, and I've gone to see like his collections and stuff like that, and multiple times in different places. And I've always kind of been fascinated with Van Gogh just because of his like art. I mean, his history is crazy and his art style, and the way that he did his paintings with the short strokes, and I mean, it's brilliant. And his tale is kind of wild. It's like the classic broke artist that nobody cares about until he's gone. Um, so it's interesting to see that like Kurokawa is like a fan of him. A fan, clearly a really big fan of Van Gogh. It's just I wonder, like, did he actually have a dream that he was in Van Gogh's paintings? That seems interesting to me. Like, did he just dream of Van Gogh's paintings, or did he dream he was in them? But it looks beautiful, and it's like I reminded myself, like, this takes place in the '90s, and they made that look as almost as good as I would have wanted it to. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you would have done it a little differently today, probably, because you could have like did more close-ups and have them more in the painting. But I really like the way that they put that together. I thought it was really clever and cool. And just aesthetically, I liked the way all of that stuff looked. And generally for the movie, too, though. I will say, like, I thought the cinematography for this was great. It did feel very dreamlike. And, I could see, like, an elder Japanese man having these types of dreams, considering, like, the time in history which he grew up. But I think the Van Gogh one really stands out for me.
Nice. And Scorsese's acting?
Terrible, awful. Like, and I can say that because it's an actor who has given some terrible performances. I know him when I see him, and it's not good.
Well, so apparently, I guess he had already written the some of these dreams down or something, because apparently he said that when he first met Scorsese, he wanted to already saw him as Van Gogh. So whatever,
Oh, that's
you know,
interesting.
yeah, like he had already pictured him at that point, and that apparently he called him to do it because supposedly Francis Ford Coppola told him that Scorsese would do it. Yeah. Uh, yeah, someone else. I forget if there was anything more with that one, but oh, I like the with that one that once he goes in, they're talking in French, like with the lady by the bridge and all that.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, oh, it's all gonna be in French, and then they start talking not just Scorsese in English, but the main character is also speaking in English. And I was like, oh, okay. So that, I mean, again, dreams is weird, right? Like,
Wait,
it's
remind
one
me,
of the,
was the main character speaking in English with Scorsese?
yeah,
Not the whole time, but after he says his first English word,
right. Yeah,
then he started.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think he spoke French to the French women also. Like, I think it started in Japanese, then they spoke in French. I think he responded in French and kind of same, which I guess also leads into the whole dream aspect of it. Yeah, Marina or Steve, you guys have a favorite one?
I'll go ahead while Marina is thinking and putting her finger in her mouth. Um, I'm I'm going to say the scenes with the little kid. To me, honestly, like he was the strongest actor to me, like out of everybody. Like that little kid, like showed more range than I seen professional actors show.
Hmm.
You know, like he behaved like a man. Like I was like, this is not a kid. This is like a man on a quest now. He can't even get onto his house and stuff. And the scene that like captivated me the most, that I was like, yo, give this kid an Oscar, was when he was with the mountain people that were the peach tree people, and then he's crying and they're laughing, and he just goes like, I'm crying because I love this place and like all this stuff and blah blah blah. He just goes on this crazy speech that leaves them dumbfounded. And I was like, yo,
Hmm.
this kid got it. Like it's insane how great of an acting performance that kid gave. So
That line, I wrote the line down, which is like, uh, he responded with like, you can buy peaches at any store, basically at any market, but you can't buy peach tree blossom. Like the idea, you can just go to a market and buy a peach tree blossom. Like you know, that's only like in nature, only outside. Which, yeah, the kid reacting like that, I was very, very surprising. Sorry, Marina, you were gonna uh mention something.
No, I was just gonna say that was one of those moments where I don't know, that wasn't the same kid, right? Like the kid that gets cursed in the forest
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
kid in the peach story, those are two different little boys, right?
I
I
thought it
feel like
was the same one.
I thought that one, because I did two at first, and I think that's where I got confused, thinking it was like a continuation
Yeah,
of her story. But I feel like the
yeah,
kid, after I watched it the second time, in the peach orchard story, is older, like maybe
okay,
just a year. But I
yeah,
like I feel like the one in the Fox story was a little smaller, but
Younger.
they both were
Yeah.
great actors. For the Peach Tree one is my favorite as well. The child's acting, the the dancing of these people and the outfits they had on, and just like that was definitely a moment where I felt like I was like learning something, like learning a tale
I'm
like that.
really surprised, you guys. Like, I'm really surprised you guys chose the like kabuki theater one. I thought like, oh man, they're gonna hate this. They're gonna hate this because
Yeah.
there's like
I
no
think
language and it's like
Cause
interpretive
culture.
dance.
Cause culture and
No,
I think
tradition.
because
I
it was like the least dark for me. Things got really dark later, and yeah, it was, really good stories too. But I honestly felt a little like even Peach over Fox, because that like you go get protection or you got to kill yourself. Like what?
Oh,
I'm
sepulchre. They left you this, and it's a freaking, I know there is a name for the mini katana. The defensive one that
She said, "I
Tommy
can't let
has.
you back
Yeah. She's just like, here you go. It's like sinners, like, give him the money, and it's like, you can't come in, and I'm just gonna drop you the money on the outside, but don't cross over. But it is supposed to be the same character. But yeah, that's two different kids. The young child, and then as a boy. Um, what did you think of the dance routine, Marina? Oh,
the dance routine in the Peach Orchard."
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it was long, but it was captivating. Like I said, like their outfits and their makeup, it made it more intriguing than if they would have just all had on like a black shirt and black pants. I would be like, all right, I. But I feel like you're spending so much time looking at the different groups because it's different.
yeah.
Every tier was like a different move and a different thing, and so yeah. Overall, that's definitely my favorite dream.
Um, I go back. I mean, for me, because I do really like Van Gogh. There's also a great Doctor Who episode where they interact with Van Gogh. And visually, I thought that was great. I love the idea of like the bridge being there and the bricks with the color. Uh, I I think though my favorite one, which is weird because it starts up really slow, is the tunnel. Is the soldier going back home,
Hmm.
like having to go through the tunnel, and then like not just is it the one soldier, like dead soldier that appears to him, like PTSD of having to deal with that sort of thing, and as you find out that he was something that was below his rank, and then when he goes, the whole platoon comes, and he has to come to terms that his whole platoon was basically massacred, but he wasn't. But he was tortured in as a prisoner of war. Uh, yeah, and like looking at the light all the way in the forest, and it's like my parents are still waiting or whatever. My parents still think I'm alive. Yeah, I just that to me, and the over the top like kabuki, and it might not be full kabuki, but just the makeup of the soldiers and stuff like that, I thought was really powerful. In that I can imagine it's the survivor guilt and stuff like that. So um, yeah, I think, but there so many. Yeah, so maybe going forward with this is like we talked about visually and sound wise what it was. Now let's talk a little bit about messaging. Is it there's a difference between the which one you like more visually and maybe aesthetically, but is there like a message in some of the dreams that you kind of agree or connect to more, or is that just too separate from the what you prefer visually?
I think that's a really good question because I thought about that, and I mean, I like the message. I was really excited when he goes to the village because one, it's really beautiful in that dream. And it's like, oh man, like this is the kind of place that I sort of want to live in life, like subconsciously or secretly. Um, just like a really peaceful sort of place like that. It's like beautiful and serene is the right word. And I like, oh, he's about to talk to this, elder man, and he's going to give him like, some really good like life lessons. And it's like, surely that's what he did. Some really like sage advice and like, kind of like a return to the earth type vibe or whatever, or like, like don't get lost in this matrix of technology and stuff. Um, that message I thought was pretty great. Outside of like, my favorites.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I feel like everything was powerful, right? Whether it was the in the tunnel or the hiking through the snowstorm, the the plant exploding, but it's just like I said, it was heavy, so it was like, man, it was like almost like near death. It's crazy that how many dreams he had that were just about absolute destruction or death. But yeah, I do think it was very nice to have it end with something that was a bit more beautiful. Um, but yeah, I mean, definitely the messaging in all of them were powerful, but almost like too powerful to a sense. Like I said, I felt kind of like, especially because they all end just like you don't really get a conclusion, which is like a dream, right?
Yeah.
Like it'll be like a nightmare, and you just wake up. And I just felt like, yeah, I felt like we kept waking up and you want more. It's probably what they probably liked that effect. But on the other hand, I felt like a little empty without like getting full closure. Like it's like darkness, darkness, and then next story instead of your usual happy ending in a story like that. So I definitely agree that the beautiful garden and they leave the flowers on the rocks and like I just, yeah, that was a good way. I felt like it was a good conclusion dream sequence.
Yep.
Right
A
on,
little more hopeful of an ending, right? Of
for sure.
just like after all the chaos and destruction. Yeah, I had so many good lines as uh humans basically forget that they're part of nature. I thought was really touching, and just like, why does a night have to be as bright as the sun, right? Or as a day? Um how, talking about nowadays, everyone's connected to technology and kind of can let go, and we're at night hooked up to the internet, completely connected, instead of being out there milking cows or something, right, Steve?
Right.
And yeah, that's now, one of the things that people say about this movie is that it's really preachy, or like Jason kind of had said, what is it, master,
Masturbatory.
yeah, that word. Um, and you can kind of see that with some of the what the dreams are about and the preachiness of it. But if that's what he's dreaming, hey man, it's like he's seen some shit, and you want to write down your dream journal as soon as you wake up. So maybe his dreams are just how much. Yeah, I would love to know like how much was the dream, and then how much was like the dialogue and stuff that got added later. You know, that would be a fun thing
Well,
to find
just for
out.
clarity, I could see how you would think that I meant like him doing his own dreams was masturbatory. It's not exactly what I meant, but I guess that's kind of accurate as
No,
well.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think that's.
Also, like this is another thing just for perspective. This dude was born in 1910.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like to live from 1910 to almost the 2000s.
yeah.
Like you have seen stuff.
World War I and two.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, in the second one, he's there getting bombed, and kind of being a part. Even, I mean, Japanese, right? So that was.
That's what I was gonna say too. Even though the messaging is there, some of it is to an extent not relatable, and you definitely feel like it's more relatable to the life that he's lived,
Mhm.
and which
Yeah,
is fine. All the stories should be told, but it does kind of, you know, it's not something I would typically dream about. So
It
right.
sheds a light for sure, from someone who is a really good, I mean, director. He's a great director, so he's a great communicator, right? For someone to be able to share, like, maybe even like their subconscious idea about like what nuclear disaster might mean. We don't have that experience. You're right. We can't relate, but it's nice to hear someone tell the tale that who had the experience.
Yeah.
agreed.
Also, by
And
masturbatory, I just meant like he held on shots for a really long time.
bro, I was also, I didn't make to
Listen,
I
I
didn't mean to
know
make that.
people are canceling Jason in the comments right now.
Actually, I didn't mean to also connect that what you said with what I had mentioned. I gave an example of just it's his movie style. Like yeah, like filmmakers sometimes get a little bit big about themselves or like and like you said, holding a shot or doing a certain thing. So I can see that. It's not like someone like for Coppola doing Metropolis or whatever his movie was, right? That some of these filmmakers are like, no one wants to fund my movie. I'll make one, and it's just like super ridiculous. Whereas this is ridiculous, but it's in another way. It's just this artist saying like, these are the dreams I had, and these are some of the meanings that the dreams might have, you know. But anyway,
Mhm.
Steve, you got a the message of one of the thingies, one of the sequences.
Well, I did get the message that Jason thinks is masturbatory. Um, so that
Okay,
that's all I got.
at least you're picking up on the important stuff.
Um, I will say, well, what's the message of the Van Gogh one? Is there one there?
That's the same one as the nuclear one, isn't it? Or is that a different one?
It's a
Or does
different
that
one.
dream bleed over into the nuclear one?
It might bleed over. Uh, I mean that's crazy. Also, I did a self portrait and I couldn't get the ear right, so I cut it off and threw it. It's such a like ridiculous thing to.
I was wondering if that were true. Like, is that a part of, like, did that happen or
I
what?
don't I don't think so.
I don't really
Is that
know.
but it makes kind of sense, but then like as a filmmaker, you're like you gotta be able to kill your baby or whatever. So like when editing, you gotta be able to self edit it. And I don't know if that's like Van Gogh being like, ah shit, I can't do this. So let me just cut it off. Um
It is a
but
dream.
yeah, was that just his inspiration that he was having and trying to like connect to maybe a mentor or try to figure out what the artist was all about? Um, because some of the other ones, clearly the ones doing like the Mount Fuji, which the coloring, you could tell it was like explosions, but then how they made the mountain glow and stuff, like there was some really great like early special effects from the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, they were also some ILM was also part of this production. So at the beginning it says that it was like produced by Steven Spielberg and then with with help in production by ILM, I think. So
What's ILM?
that's the one that Star Wars started doing the
Mm.
Light and Magic. What is the I for? I can't
Oh,
think
yeah,
of
that
the
sounds
I,
right. Yeah.
but it's I Light and Magic, whatever I stands for. Industry Light and Magic. Yeah, whatever. But basically, the people that came up with special effects, right, or who modernized what special effects were. Um, yeah, kind of same with that final sequence of the hopefulness or of the what we can learn from it all. And like I almost think also like after the fallout and everything gets destroyed, you can eventually get new things, right? Like it can eventually grow back, um, which is a kind of nice way of looking at it. Like it starts and ends kind of like there is daylight again in a certain sense. But anyone have anything else they want to add or talk about?
I was just gonna say, I wish I would have known that these are supposed to be him in different dreams, because towards the end it's the same adult man. And I didn't under
Yeah,
I was thinking that it was trying to tell me that this is like a continuation of the story, but in reality these are just like 8 recurring dreams that he's had, so he's in them because it's his dream, not
right.
necessarily because it's connected. But in some way I feel like the way that they sequenced it is to give that hope, like you said. But it confused me because I was trying to think like, oh, like, so are these like the 3 horned people? Is what happened after the chemical thing? Like I was just like I was just like,
Yeah.
what's happening? I don't know. But
I
Yeah.
feel they were a little more connected towards the end because like it stayed with the same character, right?
I think that's
Um,
just because he was
yeah.
the same adult. I don't think it's so much that it's the same story. It's just
Right,
that
right, right, right.
it
No,
didn't
no, no, no.
change
Yeah. But
much.
I'm
But
just saying the Mount Fuji, like and all that explosion going into like Fallout world, you know, with like people that have gotten deformed and all that due to
the chemical.
their yeah. And in that one, I was writing a lot because there wasn't a whole lot of talking, and so what little they would write, I would write down. But in that one, I was interested. They talked about he still had it as there's gonna be still a caste system in Fallout, you know, because the guy that had the one horn, they're like we eat our, we feed on ourselves, and it's like there's barely anyone left. I'm gonna be next because I have one horn, and the 2 horn people eat the one horn, and then the 3 kind of eat the 2. So it was this whole thing of like, oh shit, like that, that's on another level. But then the fact that like the punishment is immortality, right? Like this idea of life and death and maybe hell or heaven, of the idea of like depending what you did, depending what uh your role was to like fuck up the world, like you might end up with 3 horns or more horns and be, you know, have to suffer the pain throughout the night and scream and for eternity. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that as being part of the like
Yeah.
again, the more wacky dreams seem to have the deepest kind of uh messaging.
Yeah, that was freaky. And again, it was another one where I was like, "What kind of movie is this?" I didn't expect such like creepiness. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like the cover looked so surreal, and like it looked like this a dream.
Yeah,
And I
the rainbows. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
almost forgot it was, dreams can also be nightmares. And so I was just like, I was trying to eat a sandwich. I was like, man, I don't want the sandwich anymore. I don't know if it has 2 horns or not. Like what's but yeah. Yeah. Other cultures really do light, light. It wasn't even like a super dark demon thing, right? It was just like they didn't look crazy scary, but I just feel like it's just something about, like, I don't know if it's the music, like the chimey music and I don't even know what Asian culture calls like that. Kind of sounds like wind chimes. I don't know if like there's a genre for that where it's like spiritual feel to it. But there's just
Yeah.
something about all of that together, and you're talking about demons and stuff. It's just like so scary. It scares the heck out of me. And it's not just them. Same thing with like when Indian culture does it. um Even like some African like spiritual music mixed with a monster, I'm just like, it feels too real. So it feels like it's ghosts you can believe in. It just feels so Yeah, even like the tunnel. Like, I was just like, this is kind of scary. I'm gonna dream. I bet you. How many of you think we're gonna have a dream about this movie?
You know what's funny, Marina? When I was watching the tunnel scene, I was thinking like, "Oh, here we go. This is familiar territory. I mean, this is what a dream looks like." So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It does feel universally like how dreams are. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys might get pulled into one of these things tonight. I do have a question for you guys, though. Uh, I'd like to know. We're all a lot younger than uh, Kurosawa was when he made this movie.
Made it.
But
Yeah.
do you guys think that your reoccurring dreams would make for like interesting cinema?
Oh, nice. I'm glad you brought that up because I was had a similar-ish question.
Do you guys know
Are
yours?
you
Like, I'm
saying
talking about, like,
pitch a dream that would fit in the sequence? Because apparently there were like three other or four other dreams that maybe would have connected more, but it would have been too long.
Hmm.
So I guess pitch dreams, huh? Now I gotta try to remember one that I've had over and over and
Well,
over
not
again.
necessarily for you to pitch a dream, but do you think like a movie of your reoccurring dreams over your life since you were like a child would with that how would that play on screen? Would it be interesting? Would you
I,
want to see it?
I would say in my case, oh, from my over my life, yes. Of my dreams, hell no.
No, just dreams, just your
I
reoccurring dreams.
I have three reoccurring dreams, and unlike this movie, it came at different times, which is funny, right? Like, but I haven't had a recent one, so I don't know. When I was a kid, I saw this episode of Oprah where there was a girl spending the night at her friend's house, and let's say they live like in Buttfudge, Illinois, somewhere like suburb, but like farmland almost, even like where you gotta like walk half a mile to get to the next house, kind of thing. And there was a serial killer in that area, and the serial killer came to her friend's house, slit everybody's throat in the house, and the only person to survive was the girl who spent the night. And I don't know if I was just too young to hear this story, but at least once a month I have a dream I'm somewhere, and right before I wake up. And that's been happening since I was like 8 or 9 years old. Um
Did they
so
ever
I mean,
catch that killer?
I don't even know if they did or not, but that stays with me. I
Maybe it
also
was the girl that spent the night that did it.
So you know what's so crazy? I think about that all the time. Like, I wonder if that's why it haunts me, because I don't feel like the true story has been told.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, what
Yeah.
if she didn't cut herself as deep? Because it was like they were like, she's the sweetest girl. But I mean, I guess that could kind of be like a scary thing, but also like it could be a movie to where
Wait, is the plot twist that you are the survivor?
no, but I guess that could be like a dream movie. Like, I feel like that could be a thriller where a person has dreams about like unsolved cases and then like wakes up. So I don't know if it could be like a standalone fantasy, but I
Kind
do
of
think it
also
could be like a
sounds
concept.
like your next podcast. Like trying to figure out your dream and then going into what was this serial killer in Chicago and then finding out maybe like, oh shit, this never happened. Like watching every single Oprah show to try and figure out like I know I watch Oprah and there isn't. And
Yeah.
you have to now also delve deep. Is Oprah in your dream? Does she pop up?
No, it's just I'm in this house. Yeah. That's probably the biggest standout, longest thing. I also every once in a while, it's gotten less and less as I got older. I used to probably mommy issues, feel like I was Carrie in my dream. Like that they're all gonna laugh at you thing.
Yeah.
They used to haunt me. It's very maybe once a year now, but I'm telling it used to be once a month. But yeah, so I don't have anything like mystical adventures with creatures and masks or anything like that. But what about you guys? Any
I do
reoccurring?
think that I've had dreams that would I think resonate, not only like fit into that movie, but I think maybe again, like you said, we're kind of a certain age, so our media intake is so much different than like again someone that was born in 1910 was getting as a kid was getting in dream stuff. So like where the hell did the fox thing come? Like is that a like a tale that's told? Like a whether it is a tall tale or whatever, like a little legend about the fox in the forest having a wedding procession, which is like, oh, I could buy this. I could buy that this is a old traditional, mystical tale that they tell in Japan. But for us, we've kind of been raised in different media. So I feel like even that what Marina said, I think now I'm probably gonna dream that someone comes through the window and slits my throat. Thanks, Marina. Um, yeah, there's one that I just remember that I was being chased or fighting, and I was on a bridge, and everyone's like coming and coming, and I was like, well, the only way I can get out is if I wake up, so I'm gonna jump off the bridge. So like I jump off the bridge, and I'm like falling, and I'm like I'm gonna wake up, and then like I fall onto the bridge again. So it's like a never-ending kind of like let me get out of this dream, and then it's just like almost like a video game that you're just like you're back where you were
That
like
feels
you
kind of
can't get out.
cinematic.
Yeah, so that was one that for a while I don't think I have that anymore, but it was definitely uh probably teens and maybe through college that I feel like I would have a lot of being
Would
clearly
you
being
guys
chased.
ever like to see someone like, or do it yourself? I don't know, it doesn't matter. But would you ever like to see like your dream as a film?
I don't know, because I
I
mean
mean,
it's
what?
tough. Because I feel like, ironically, I feel like most of my reoccurring dreams are the negative ones. Like it's very hard to like repeat a positive one, which probably goes into a lot about what this movie is based around.
Oh, that's
So
actually really good to know. I was just thinking it was me. I was like, all my reoccurring dreams are kind of like nightmares.
yeah,
Wait,
exactly.
wait, 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 wait. So, Jason, when you fell asleep during this movie, did you have like a recurring dream of this movie?
Unfortunately, I didn't. I didn't have a dream at all. I wish I would have had a dream after watching this.
We would have loved to hear it. It would have been so cool. The dream you had from watching dreams. Yeah, I guess like I mean, like I said, like I don't know if any of mine it would be interesting enough on its own or even sequence, like all the times I've been scared to death in a dream. But I think like if you add to it, I'm sure they did too. I'm sure he wasn't having like an entire explosion slash hillside running around. I'm sure it didn't go that long. And if he did, he was one of a kind. Like I feel like none of my like dreams are more than 30 seconds long. It doesn't I don't think they're um yeah. So yeah, I think sure, why not? We just had to add some stuff to it. But I think anything could have been interesting.
Yeah, because it's lucid dreaming. Well, even in this one, right? Even probably the most boring or longest one, you could say the one in the blizzard, right? Like, holy shit, that one can seem really long. But then it had some really interesting concept or sound, right? All you hear is the wind and the tools going for the longest time. And then just the way they cleverly had the I don't know if you could say angel demon because she has a shawl and she's very ethereal. Kind of reminds me in Lord of the Rings the oh man now I'm gonna get murdered on the comments because I don't know the name. The the elves from the tree, the lady, whoever, cathedral maybe or whatever, when she gets offered she's like beautiful and she gets offered the ring and then the light goes and she becomes kind of evil. And
Mhm.
that's how it felt they did the transition with her where she had the veil, then the veil was blown off, and then her hair was so long it was actually covering her face. And then next time the hair goes up, she's got, of course, the makeup that's kind of like demon makeup, and then she like flies off. And I was like, visually, that's amazing. I think. So even the dreams that didn't make any sense or much sense or you didn't get a connection with were still interesting visually. So I think everyone's dreams, if it's put on film, is gonna have something that pops, right? Like whether like is that dream like is it like a noir thing? Would it be in black and white? The one of like, are you in your childhood home? Are you your age or are you like younger when you saw it? Like there can be, again, not in the whole pigeon thing, but I feel like there are so many ways to interpret dreams as it is that man, if you can take at least one dream and make it
and,
interesting in some way on film,
and
then you
also
should.
and also when you're having a recurring dream, are you dreaming exactly the same thing over and over again? Or are you dreaming it from a different angle? Is it different? The characters are doing different things. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
feel
how it is
like
for you, Steve?
what?
Has that been your experience with recurring dreams?
No, I mean I had recurring themes, but not the recurring dream of like the same.
Different POVs.
Just like
yeah,
I'm in high school or whatever, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I those and that's why I literally have the three, the two I mentioned, and I also have, like you said, it's not 100% spot on, but these are like 80 to 90% the same. Maybe I wake up a little sooner, maybe I wake up a little later, maybe there's a little bit more to start with, but though I have definitely have three that it's almost identical. And then I have other stuff. Like we all have a falling dream. Like it just hair falling out, teeth falling out, been there, I've had that stuff, but not necessarily like to a point where it stands out for almost 30 plus years now. Like those are mine. Like I just yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna look into that girl though. I think she did it. Because the fact
Yeah,
that
I
you
want
heard
to know. Let
just
us know your findings when you find out. We really have to open this thing up and start a podcast to stop this girl.
oh my gosh. Yeah. Hmm.
What was I going to say? Oh, no, I guess I already said it. So yeah.
Did you say the number? We do the numbers yet?
Oh, we did not do the numbers yet. So this is kind of an interesting thing because, like Dino said, Spielberg made sure Kira got the money to make this movie, which cost $12 million to make.
Oof.
It didn't really make much money in theaters. It made like 3 million total. Upon original release, like we got 1.9 million, and then it didn't get another million until it was re-released in 2020, which is interesting because 2020 was a very particular year. So I
Mhm.
wonder what month it was released in 2020 because like earlier in the year, maybe it got its like proper, run. But if it was released like during the pandemic, like maybe it would have made even more money like upon a actual theatrical release. But altogether, all said and told, the movie made about $3 million. So incredible flop for sure by standards. But I mean, maybe it wasn't there to make a bunch of money. It's just, I mean, maybe money, it doesn't always matter. And maybe Hollywood, felt like they owed Kurosawa this money as a reparation for stealing all of his earlier work.
Mm. Dino, did you get an E for extra credit? Because I feel like you picked a movie that starts with your name, and it may or may not be a box office
I,
bomb.
I know. I did think that it was a double whammy because of that. Um,
I wanted to say though, only thing that I feel like was lacking from this movie, and I think it would have been so helpful, is like I wish that he would have woken up in between segments. Because like I said, it just ends. And I think it would have been a cool effect that the actor playing him in each one like wakes up from whatever bed they're in. Like, it just that would have been kind of cool to have like transition with that.
It
Like,
would have felt like a complete narrative, at least, if you would have. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, but he had the and I had another dream.
true. I mean, yeah, do what you gotta do with a Microsoft
so
PowerPoint.
yeah, and this is one that again, it's been being re-released, and Criterion Collection always helps in that sense. Um, so it's become a little more popular, but again, that's because we have his whole line of films. It's gonna be at the Michigan Theater, April 23rd, or that already happened. Did that happen?
The
Yeah.
Michigan Theater, that's in Ann
Yeah,
Arbor, right?
yeah, this past weekend, I guess, right? The
Oh wow.
23rd.
That's funny.
Um, yeah, so it's been coming out this year again, but yeah, 2020 would be if this came out in 1990. Do the math, guys. Was must have been an anniversary show, but I don't know. Yeah, it would be interesting to see because again, the pandemic, right? Like destruction, and is a man-made, and is we've kind of had a different kind of fallout during the pandemic when no one was out and things started growing and animals started thriving and pollution was down. You could actually see different mountains from different
Yeah.
places. So, all right. That being said, let's go into final thoughts unless someone has anything else to add.
All right,
No.
our
All
final
right.
thought is up and out. Final thought. My final thought is that um, I guess I feel like I like this movie a little bit more after talking to you guys about it and kind of like, us intellectualizing it a little bit and talking about the themes. Would I watch this movie again? I think I would actually watch it again. And I probably will at some point, even if it's just for a reference point or just because I love Kurosawa and maybe I want to like give a finer look at this thing and like what it is that a filmmaker would do to make their dreams, because it is pretty interesting. It almost feels like a film student's dream, and it's very experimental in that way. So like it's cool. It's cool as hell for sure. Who would I recommend it to? I would recommend this to film students. I would recommend this to Akira Kurosawa fans, people who like movies that are a bit more experimental. Um, for the general public, this thing probably doesn't work, as indicated by the numbers. But I think a lot of people can appreciate this thing. If you have like a real penchant for trying to understand dreams, like interpreting dreams, or you're in a dream phase of your life where you're trying to get a better understanding of what that experience is, this is probably a good movie to look at.
Cool, cool, cool. Steve? Oh.
Final thoughts.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a movie that, again, I repeat it. If you're gonna watch this movie, like actually watch it, make sure you have energy
Yeah, yeah.
because
Mhm.
it's one of those films, man, that like it's like putting Bob Ross in the background. You're just gonna be soothing to maybe take a little nap. So like, but it's definitely a great film to just also have in the background because again, the aesthetics, the colors, the costumes, the people that they have like interpreting all kinds of things, foxes and kabukis and all kinds of things. Uh, it's it's quite the film. Um, it is not my favorite Cinema Club movie. Uh, it is definitely better than Havoc. I will,
Woo!
I will give it that. Um, but would I watch this movie again? For me, tough, tough, tough. I did enjoy discussing it a little bit more, but it's just one of those films that it's for me to give it a rewatch. It's more of like I will put it in the background more than like me rewatching the film.
Nice.
And that's my final thought.
I would love to see a dive bar that just has this in the background, kind of like they have other movies, and there's just yeah. Anyway, Marina, final thoughts.
Yay. Never gonna watch this again. I will talk about this around actors just to sound smart. Like, oh, you've seen Dreams before? Wow. It's 8 different Dreams movie. Yeah. It's definitely one of those movies you bring up just to show that you really like you deep dive into cinema. Like, and that's exactly what it is. I'm, glad I watched it because again, these are kind of movies I would never think to watch my own. So I truly appreciate Cinema Club for this, but definitely one and done. And I agree. Don't be tired. Don't like just be in a good space where you actually have a moment to like really grasp it because it's like 8 different heavy storylines that you're gonna need to pay attention to because one, there's a lot going on. Two, if you don't speak the language, you need to read the subtitles. And so it's just like, yeah, definitely be able to focus and yeah, that's my final thought.
Thank you. Yeah, I kind of agree with you guys. This is definitely like a teaching one for film students and stuff like that. And I think I was thinking about when people are like, would I watch it again? And it's like at some point I might, and especially again if there would be like a talk back or live. But it is a very hard watch, I think, if you don't have a special interest in. So I wouldn't necessarily know like who to recommend this film unless I am talking to them, right? Uh, what I will say, what was interesting to me was like this is something that, especially in today's day and age, where everything is like edited, and it's like TikTok, and it's like this. Certain the dreams could be split up, right? And just it's one of those like, ooh, and Jason even said like for a reference point you could go back. So it's like certain dreams I'm like, yeah, I'll go watch that like if I need to get motivated for something or I need a little a bit of inspiration. It's kind of like a anthology. I'm thinking of Buster Scruggs, right, that the Coen brothers did and how that was like all these vignettes. And there's like a couple vignettes that I'm like, I could watch this. Like I'm in this mood. Like I could maybe watch this again. Not necessarily saying that with dreams I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm in this mood. Let me let me put this weird one. But I could be like, if I'm talking to someone, I could be like, this Van Gogh vignette from Kurosawa. I think you will really enjoy, right? Or if it's like a nuclear war talk, like I could be like this. So it will be easier. I guess in the long way of coming back to my mind, like a dream, it would be easier to recommend and watch the individual vignettes than recommend and rewatch the whole movie through. But maybe that's just me. And it'll also be interesting to watch this older to see if you have the same thoughts you did now. Kind of like I'm guessing when he revisited his dreams to put into movies, did his ideas about them and what they meant changed?
Mm.
Anyway, real long winded. Someone should have stopped me at some point. Like someone, I guess, stopped him from having 4 extra dreams in his movie. Jason, do you have a question?
I do actually, and that's Steve. What do you got for us next week?
Next week,
Mm.
I am so glad you asked. Uh, because it is your turn. But if you're not ready, I
Oh,
have backup. But if it's your turn,
no, I do have
What?
one. Sorry, I didn't send you my pick earlier, but I have thought about this. I've given pretty diligent thought into this one this week. And my choices were to either do a movie that begins with my name, letter J, or box office flop.
or
Uh,
you can do both, like Dino just did.
or I could do both. I could intertwine it for extra credit.
Nerd.
And so what I decided to do was I went with the latter opposed to the former because I was looking at the J names. And maybe there's one movie I want to see with the J name, but everything else was like just a bunch of Jumanjis, honestly, like all
Jurassic Park. Jurassic World.
um, so what I did was I decided to go with a box office flop, and I chose the Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
1975.
I haven't watched that one
It's
yet.
75?
Mhm.
Shit. I don't know why I thought maybe it was 80. Ooh.
So
been
All
that's
right.
that's our movie.
over 50 years. For El Dondino, Jason_Echoes, The Marina Love, and me, Steve the Civil. We'll catch you next week. Bye bye.